Saying the quiet part out loud. We allowed Casey Anthony back online because our justice system sucks. Let me explain. If you don't know, Casey Anthony took the headlines in the beginning of the 2010s because her daughter, Caylee Anthony, went missing, and who was later, after an exhaustive search, found dead in her backyard, wrapped up. And somehow, Casey Anthony, her mom, was at the club every day while her daughter was missing. There was enough evidence to convict Casey Anthony, or there was enough circumstantial evidence, I should say. But because of the circumstantial evidence, Casey Anthony was let free. There is a 99% chance that this woman murdered her daughter with her father's help. By the way, who was a SAing monster towards Casey. They tried to pin it on him with no actual evidence that he did anything. It's just her word against his. And that makes you sick to your stomach. Trust me, it's not going to get any better. In America, on average, 50% now, 50% of murders either got unsolved or the person accused goes free, right? And it's all because of the evidence ring, which is the chain of evidence that the prosecution needs to convict somebody. But that being said, the chain of evidence is flawed because the system is flawed, because there are sloppy cops, political leanings, and a whole bunch of fuckery that's going on that allows people who commit horrible crimes to not actually get justice. Unless you're a minority, then you're going to jail for sure. In Canada alone, this is the wild one. Most people who commit dangerous crimes outside of murder don't really go to jail. On average, as a predator, a PDF file will only get 3 to 4 years on average in a Canadian jail. And most of the time, they've been sitting in jail on remand, so they actually their time gets lessened, so they end up spending less than 2 years in jail. And they're released back in the community with no one telling them they're back in the community, only under, essentially house arrest or in a halfway house, which they can escape from anytime. This is a thing that happens every day in Canada. And America is worse because the population is worse and the violence is worse. The way our system is set up, I don't care if you're American or Canadian, this applies for both. The way the system is set up in North America is that if you commit a crime and you are either found guilty or innocent, doesn't matter which, if the story is compelling enough, you can make some money off it. And because the entertainment is a cesspool of PDF files and the lowest of the low, they'll try to make a story out of anything. And you know what? It's our fault. It's our fault. Why? Because we are the ones who consume this information. They make it based on what we watch. If you have a girlfriend, or I bet you your girl watches more true crime than anybody else you know in your freaking existence, outside of your sister and your mom. Right? This is the stuff that's being consumed. So naturally, the information or the things that are going to be made are going to reflect that. And all that's been reflecting is the fact that you can do these crimes and do your time or be acquitted, and then they're just still going to give you money anyway. There's no repercussions. We have been living in a society that rewards terrible people for a very long time. Christopher Columbus had an entire holiday named after him and colleges while he murdered, raped, and pillaged thousands of Native American people on accident. On accident. He didn't find it. He did it on accident, and he wasn't even the one who found it. So, if you're wondering why so much of our media is focused on the criminal and not the victims, it's because of this reason. Casey Anthony is a terrible person. I don't doubt that for a second in my mind. You murdered your child to go to the club. She murdered her child to go to the club. Yes, I was in my 20s in the 2010s. The club was amazing, but not amazing enough to kill my kid. And yet still, here she is trying to do a rebrand. And we're so selective of who we give the rebrand to because we've done it to other people. Gypsy Rose got a rebrand because people felt bad for her. She murdered somebody. The thing is that if we want to change what we're watching, and as Kendrick said, turn our TV off, we have to turn off what's being fed to us by not participating and feeding us the worst people as a redemption story. I can't name you how many Ted Bundy movies there are. I'm pretty sure at some point in the next 20 years, they're going to do a Robert Pickton movie. We have to change the narrative so they don't keep feeding us the darkness that they're creating.